Question, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Hassan Joe is a businessman, and you deal with many things, logistics, jewelry, all of that. We are giving you mining. Mining today is done by the locals in Navakolo, Ikolomani, Homa Bay, in Moyale and Marsabit, where they do gold and other minerals, and they eke out living through that. Tell us, we as Kenyans, you are looking for private investors. Do we see the potential that you get private investors so that the locals, the communities, will be locked out? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, let me just clarify that my family is not in jewelry business. We are in logistics, obviously diversified a little bit in real estate and trading. Let me ascertain that we are in this industry that is called service industry. We don't work with government. We've never worked, my family has never worked with government. We don't do business with government. We have a straightforward business, and I assure you that we will not do business with government. We have enough already, as it were, to deal with. On the question of the comments by the Honorable MP, no, in Mombasa, on the same one, on the comments. I want to tell you, I now serve the nation. And in fact, I will make efforts to even unite those that are in Mombasa. I must help the president unite the country. And therefore, I must rise above local, divisive conversations. Every Kenyan must be served equally across board. So if there's anything I'm going to do, is to actually endeavor to unite Kenyans and even leaders even more. So be rest assured, politicians have their space, they can say what they say, but if I'm approved, I serve the nation, and I want to assure this House I will do anything to see a Kenyan that is united. Mr. Speaker, on my telephone number, let's begin there. I wonder the kind of calls that I'm going to get today. But you missed out on a digit, so I'll tell you later. Because I can be salimiwad. But yes, it has those many zeros. I may have gotten some shares maybe from on a light note, Mr. Speaker. So I want to also say that I agree with the Honorable Stephen on the space in the blue economy. And Mr. Speaker, if there's one thing that this country needs to focus on, is mining and blue economy. I believe if we take the right strategy, we deploy the right strategy, we can even remove ourselves from the hole of debt using our own resources. We can. We can. And we should. And therefore, I'll make it my business to ensure systems that work are deployed, processes that are efficient are used, so that we also can help this country move from the burden it is in today. And I believe strongly that, this ministry is a ministry of wealth creation and employment opportunity. And that will be my focus if you approve me. Mr. Speaker, someone touched, Honorable Robert, you touched on Mombasa Stadium and the GDP contribution. By the way, from what I read, when I was doing my research, I saw that Kenya was reporting 1% contribution to the GDP. But that included Base Titanium, which was actually the largest mining company in Kenya, which closed shop and left. So even if you remove now what Base Titanium used to contribute, we could be even lower to maybe 0.5%. And there, we quickly need to start moving so that we embark on getting real investment and in real time. Finally, Mr. Speaker, is the stadium. I saw that, affidavit. Now let me tell you what Mombasa was planning to do at that time. The idea of building a stadium was conceptualized around 2019 towards the end. We wanted to build a world-class stadium. Designed, put it up for tender. The tender was won by a Turkish company in partnership with a local company. So the stadium that we had wanted to build in Mombasa was a modern stadium that is built mostly by steel. And that is why physically you may not see the work done when you go to the ground. But I want to assure this House, and this has been a matter of investigation. It has been investigated by the Public Works. Even that Auditor General report, when it went to the Senate, it was cleared. It was not investigated by the Ministry of Sports, that all the earthworks have been completed. So what was remaining is to bring the steel bit of the stadium and just install, which I was made aware that 70% thereabout of it had been completed in Turkey. And it was just not a basic stadium. In there was multi-purpose hall, amphitheater, Olympic-sized swimming pool, and the rest of the facilities. Now, where we faced the challenge, 2019, we award a contract. 2020, hit hard by COVID. And obviously, as a leader, like many of you did, is to first of all find means and ways to cushion your people. Mombasa, at that time, announces 50% waivers on all levies because of COVID. So a sudden drop, significant drop of our local revenue. Then, subsequently, the Revenue Allocation Commission re-engages on a new formula that made Mombasa lose 2 billion shillings. 2 billion shillings. We moved from an allocation of 8 billion to 6 billion. So that completely ruined every single plan we had to complete even that. I even remember I placed a call at that time to the president and informed him that we have awarded a contract that is 1.7 billion. COVID has forced us to waive levies to cushion Kenyans. Our allocation is lost by 2 billion. How are we going to pay for this stadium? And I invited at that time the national government, please come on board and help us to complete this. Because it's already, as I speak today, I'm aware it's already completely done in Turkey. If we have resources, we pay and they come, they install. If they come within 2 months, you have a stadium up and running because all the earthworks are completely done. So I assure you, first of all, it's not 1 billion that has been paid. What has been paid for earthworks and part of the steel, and also 30% of the steel is already in Mombasa. If you visited the stadium today, you'll see they've already put up one side of the stadium as a sample. So, first of all, amount spent, no, not 1 billion, just about 400 million. Earthworks are done. 30% of the steel is in Mombasa. 70 is in Turkey. And I hope, and I want to encourage even my current governor to engage. And I know he's doing it. He's talking to national government because they're still struggling with the resources. So that allegation, be rest assured, tender was done above board, money, value for money for certain, investigation completed, no issues at all was raised by the relevant institutions. So, what was the question, Mr. Speaker?
The question was, by bringing in mega international investors, are you going to disenfranchise the local artisan miners?
No, this is what I think should happen. Obviously, for us to make meaning of what we exploit, we must encourage international investors. But I also appreciate that if Kenyan people or companies do invest, they have a greater advantage because all the dollars that are paid now will land where? Here. And for me, there's two fronts. One, artisanal miners can be organized. And by the way, we should even look at the law if we can encourage that if you are licensing a big company, for example, to mine copper, say in Busia County, we can, in the same spirit, organize local people. If we're allocating 10 acres, why can't we hire, for example, 2 acres, train local artisanal miners, equip them to make sure they are safe, because safety is a great issue, so that they can also participate in the building of the nation. And that really is a matter we are going to engage in collectively so that we cushion people, so that exploitation does not negatively impact the people of Kenya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Hassan, what I am saying is by dint of having international conglomerates to do mineral prospecting or excavating mineral, there are those communities, those individuals who are doing the mining, and they can easily be removed by virtue of not having the license, by virtue of environmental impact assessment, safety, excuses that actually locks the locals out. The reassurance I want is locals should not be locked out. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, I believe in the principle that primarily first beneficiary should be at the center where the local is. And we will do everything possible to cushion that local. And I said it earlier, and I want to repeat it again. We must equip them to be able to do real business. Number one, train them in matters mining, equip them, matters of safety, and even give them basic business skill so they know value for money. For example, Mr. Speaker, in Migori County, the artisanal miners, they go for small collection. Somebody just wants to collect enough to eat for the day. They go in very dangerous or hazardous environment. When they think they've gotten what will give them that meal for that day, they go home. Don't you think there's a need for us as a country to engage them, to tell them if you do it in a much more organized way, you can actually change your life for a long period of time. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to assure the honourable member that...
Point of order. I was hoping that you would say something like this, that you'd promote a legislation, like happens in many countries, that if a foreign investor is coming in, they must have a component of local shareholding, so that we don't only benefit, because when an investor comes in, we only benefit from their investment and employment and tax in Kenya, but they repatriate the entire amount of their profit. So we should be looking towards that, or else the country will be owned by foreigners.
No, without a doubt, and I take your comments very, very seriously, that, this requires a very deeper conversation with all of us, and I'm happy to assure you that we'll take it on. Like other countries, like you've rightly said, other countries do. Even though we are a liberal economy, we'll find ways to ensure we cushion the Kenyan population.
We have a law on local content, and if you apply and improve it, if an Australian or French company comes to mine here, and they make $1 billion profit in a year, that is money out of our economy. If 40% of that money goes to local shareholding, that is money into our economy. The most important thing is to structure such that the local content is not used to create a cabal of a few super rich against the rest of Kenyans. The local content could be a county, could even be government shareholding through parastatals in your ministry. The government also has a duty and a right to incorporate companies on behalf of the public and have them be shareholders in those mining activities. If a foreign bank makes 30 billion profit in Kenya, that is money out of our economy. If a local bank makes 10 billion profit in a year, that is money into our economy. We'll take the, okay.
I think, Mr. Speaker, I couldn't agree more. And probably that maybe the reason as to why the National Mining Corporation was formed, one of the reasons. And because National Mining Corporation is not fully functional today, and Madam Boss, this, first of all, will be the first area of potential. Get them to partner with other investors so that they can achieve that local content. And I will strongly propagate that it happens. Thank you.
In fact, before I call Sharia, at independence nominee, the government had ICDC that was a shareholder for the government and the people of Kenya virtually in each and every international investment that came in, be it Coca-Cola, whichever you name it. And they were holding this on behalf of the people of Kenya and generating wealth for the people of Kenya. Now we'll take the last four in a row: Honorable Sharia, Honorable Mishi, Honorable Mukami, and Honorable Caleb Amisi, in that order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mheshimiwa Joho, there are numerous